We are here. You've made it. We're going through movement and just discovering movement more. So today it's pretty fun. We're going to do some somatic stuff. Checking in with yesterday, I love your guys' posts. I want you to go even deeper though, okay? When we're posting about our challenges, I want you guys to really dig deep into the subtle things that you feel, okay? What are you learning from these body sensations? Well, the goal of this is to bridge the mind and the body, right? So that we have a complete understanding of how we're showing up in the world. So somatics is simply the practice of the connection of the mind and the body through different movements and whatnot, okay? Any exercise that helps to do that qualifies as a somatic exercise. What we get to understand through somatics is how the emotions link to the mind and then go into the body, right? So we understand how these things move through one another. Oftentimes, we are unaware of how much we're actually storing. Bye, Dundos. Of how much we're actually storing in our body as far as our emotions or the experiences that we have from day to day. And the only time we generally feel those is when things get too stiff in the body, we get frustrated, other things like that start showing up. Our perceptions are dulled, a myriad of things. Where are you going, Dundos? Hi, buddy. Hi, buddy. You good boy. So, what I want to help you guys explore today is how you're standing, how you're living in the world, how you're actually like feeling and moving your body, okay? One of the great things of understanding, oh, that's so cute, of understanding somatics is that what we're trying to move is the fascial tissue that is within the body. And the fascial tissue is really anything, it's the lattice structure, it's this webbing, so to speak, that connects one organ or body grouping to another. So what adheres your skin to the next layer underneath, which would be, I'm not a medical student, but maybe to the muscles that are right there, okay? What connects that? That's fascial tissue. So it's in between our organs, it's next to our bones, everything in our body is connected with fascial tissue. And oftentimes we don't realize how dense that gets. So if we can stretch fascial tissue, then we actually reduce the perception of pain even. It doesn't even feel like pain. Also, when we stretch our fascial tissue, we start to release emotions or experiences so that they can flow outside of the body. So what this actually does is create healing events, right? For you. So one way to look at this, to kind of feel this, is when we pick up our skin and we just kind of pull on it. When we pull on our skin like this, you can feel the stretching that's happening, right? And imagine if you could pull even further. You wouldn't be able to feel that type of stretching. That's what I mean as far as being able to release things that are within the body, because the density of your experiences gets congealed into our body, and one of those spaces is fascial tissue. So we might notice that there's some extra gunk around scar tissue or other traumatic events that happen to the body, and then also that translates from emotions into the body too. So stiff muscles, or perhaps you're noticing that you're walking differently, even because of emotions. Yeah, that's a somatic sensation. Noticing that you're walking differently because of how your emotional state is. Which brings me to the powerfulness of the card pull today. I felt really drawn to pull cards, and I used the Mystical Shaman Oracle deck, which I love, by Colette Baron Reed, Alberto Vialto, and Marcela Lobos. There it is. Ooh, forget exactly where I'm supposed to stand so you don't get glare, but there you go. There's that one. The two cards that I pulled today, they're both jumpers, pretty amazing. One was the rainbow, and I'm not sure if you can actually see. It didn't gauge the space. My bad. Then the other one is the Mystical Shaman. Very powerful to be able to draw these in this space. And these are really pertinent because of the way that we're going about this challenge. I am slowly giving you exercises that open you up to experiencing the world around you in a completely different way. So the rainbow bridge, it's in the reverse position, so it's asking for medicine, is letting us know that it's okay to climb above the circumstances that are lagging us down. The rainbow bridge goes into the bridge, or is the bridge into possibilities, into things that are unknown even. And so how can we let go of a linear way of thinking about life? And one of those ways is to understand that going through life, there's a lot of us who are taught to be in reaction to the emotions and situations of life instead of being self-referencing and responding to how we feel and the experiences of life. And the way that this looks is maybe you get road rage. That is an emotional response that of an event, okay? And so that emotional response is dictating how you show up. Maybe you get some bad news, or you're gossiping. All of those things are, with the bad news, maybe you get bad news and it just throws you off for a day, right? All of those things are meaning that you are more controlled by your emotions or the events of the day than you are your intentions. Really powerful to understand how that shows up for us, right? So the mystical shaman is asking you to walk in on the world in a way that lives beyond your linear possibilities of creation. Understand how you're showing up in the moment so that when you experience new situations, you can tread your own path. And by this, that mystical shaman is also asking you to shine your light or create a life of your experiences, to wow yourself. If we think that we know where we're going, like the universe has a plan, we are setting ourselves up in some manifestation way, right? Because of our programming and how we act in the world. If we think 100% that we know where we're going, it's a lie. So it's really nice to be able to open up to the possibilities of just being in the moment, instead of being controlled by the future or the past, right? Through anxiety or worry, or shame or anything of that nature. Those things all debilitate us, and they all show up in the body and they work to bring us down. So an example now of what I mean just by understanding somatics, you can follow this exercise, but for the guidelines of today's posting, I'm going to ask you to share this video, write your experience of whatever video of a somatic experience or exercise you go through. So find a video, and this could be on YouTube, this could be from anybody else. Okay, maybe there's a website that you like that does have a somatic exercise of some form. You could do this one, but I am not certified in teaching somatic experiences, so I recommend you find a certified person that has a video, okay, and then you can follow, because they're going to use verbiage that is a little bit more detailed than what I'm able to provide. So go through this and then document your experience within your share, okay? The instructions are in the video or the video description below. What else can I say about that? Okay, use the hashtags of 90-Day Happiness Challenge, and then also tag me, Matthew Embrey-McClain Shamanic Happiness Coach. So an example of somatics, okay, just in the moment of what we're doing right now. So I hope you can see my feet. If you cannot, just imagine. But what we want to do when we're just going to correct our posture for just standing is understand that the way that we stand, or to integrate the knowledge of how we stand, dictates a lot, and it actually shows us a lot of information that our body is trying to give us. So when you stand, do you normally stand with your feet open, apart? You know, do you go to one side? My huge constant posture is usually to rest on one hip, and then I just stand like this kind of thing. I stand very much with a posture leaning to the side. So a somatic experience for me is super powerful because it helps to correct my posture, because just standing to one side shows a little bit about how I'm a little imbalanced, right? If I engage in that action, then I can go, oh, I'm feeling imbalanced in this moment. Let's shift that. And this might be something that is so familiar to you that you don't realize you're in balance. Again, when you're in it, you don't often realize that you're in it. So people An example of when you're in it, you don't realize it, is a lot of times when we have so much anxiety or so much worry, depression, whatever that may be, that story is what's holding us down. Okay? It's the story that's holding us down, the experience. And we often don't understand that we have control over how that experience shows up in our lives, regardless if it is circumstantial, a momentary circumstantial thing, or if it's a chronic thing, okay? We still have a choice. And when we're in it, we don't often understand that we have the choice of the moment to change our state of being. So that's a really good example also of taking charge, if you are controlled by those things, to really understand somatics. And maybe this is something that will really help to release whatever is locked up inside of you so that you don't have to feel those feelings of stagnation anymore, okay? So quickly and easily, looking at my body, I'm going to correct where my feet are so that they're shoulder width apart about. I am pointing my feet forward, and they're in line, right? So it may require you to look down for a second. Okay. And now I can feel, just by this, that I have different weight sensations on the different parts of my feet. So go ahead and adjust yourself until you have even distribution from the ball all the way to the back of the foot, okay? And you can kind of notice also side to side. You might notice that you put too much pressure on the outsides or the insides. Notice that. Notice if you are sagging your arch. Go ahead and try to correct that, just being mindful of it, okay? And as you're standing, this is a little bit different than you probably normally stand. So far, we are feeling a difference in the body. I can already feel that there is a difference in how my hip is setting, and how do I describe that? The engagement of my legs, because I'm used to doing one thing, so my body is used to engaging those particular muscles, so it feels normal and comfortable to me by this point. When I refocus and I'm balancing my hips, I can tell that one of my legs is actually engaging more than the other now, which is odd. It shows an imbalance, right? So as I'm walking throughout the day, I want to be mindful of that, and so I'm going to try to correct my form, my walk, so that I'm doing this more even keel. And just by moving like this, what I'm doing is evening out the discrepancy of usefulness, I guess I could say that, of the muscles. And so I'm working to bring them into balance. And by doing that, I'm releasing or activating a healing moment that allows me to shift from an imbalanced state into a balanced state. And that could look like almost anything. I could need a little bit more physical exercise. I could need to yell and scream. I could need to cry. I could need to be joyous, whatever it would be to get me past that, to release the energy, right? So right now, I'm just standing, blah, blah, blah. Now, we're going to move up the body a little bit. And I'm going to notice how my hips are. And what I mean by this, I'll just turn sideways. Some of us, our hips tend to not be in line, and they can be too much forward or too far back, right? So if your hips are too tucked and you have like a roll right here, or if they're too exaggerated and you have like a nice little shelf right here, I actually tend to have a sway back. It's a little bit genetic. Well, I don't know what the actual term is. I've heard it a couple times, but it's long and medical and kind of just makes me want to say bless you and, give you a tissue. But right here, I notice that if I engage my hips in a more natural position, so I'm going to feel where my hips are, and I can tell that my hips are actually super out of alignment right there. So because of my back. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try to, as much as I can, straighten that out. Okay? This requires you to make sure you unlock your knees. Your knees have to be unlocked when you're trying to have a perfect, a beneficial posture. So I'm going to do that. And I can feel the restriction in my back for how it's wanting to move. So there's some fascial tissue that I need to open up right there, right? So the next thing to do, I'll come back at you, is, so I've got my hips and I'm actively engaging. I'm not going to harden my stomach. I'm going to keep it fluid, right? But I am engaging the tiny muscles that allow my hip to realign just a little bit. The more you do this, the better you get. And often you don't actually notice from day to day, the movement, because it's kind of like looking at the mirror all the time. We don't notice the changes until it's a drastic change, right? So I've got my hips adjusted. Now we're going to go ahead and straighten the spine a little bit, and oftentimes our shoulders come forward, or we hunch our back, or the like. And that can actually be just the settling of gravity because we don't have a good posture, right? Gravity pulls on us, pulls down, and when we're erect, we negate that, the effect of gravity as much, because if I lean forward, then it pulls me down. If I lean back, it pulls me down, all that kind of stuff. If I lean to one side or the other, I have more pull. Your body has to compensate for that. So when you're in a right alignment, you're a little different, right? You don't have as much stress on you. It's very much in line and it's supported. So to correct your shoulder posture, one really easy thing to do is just to put your hands behind your heads. Before we do this exercise, this part of the movement, only follow along if you are comfortable, capable of doing this. If you have any questions, consult, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and put my hands just in my, at the base of my neck, like just below, so it's in my neck area, okay? And then I'm going to open up my chest. So my hips are there. I'm going to open my chest, and you're going to notice that I am adjusting on the balls of my feet a little bit more so that it's evenly distributed. There we go. I can feel my hip coming into alignment. My back is there. My shoulders are there. And I'm going to tuck my head a little bit back, not down, but all I'm doing is trying to prevent or counteract the going up or anything like that. So I'm just going to pull back a little bit more with my head. Okay, I'm tucking it this way. We're going to feel a little bit of maybe tightness or stiffness somewhere, and this is a complete signal that it's time for you to do a somatic movement exercise to loosen up fascial tissue. So I'm sitting here like this, and now I'm going to drop my arms, and now I'm in alignment, right? My spine is good, my hips are good. I'm actually pretty okay standing. This is the good position. Looks like this from the side. And so I'm readjusting. I can see right when I just moved, I noticed that my left foot moved out just a teeny bit. So I'm going to adjust that again. Okay. Legs are bent. Hip engaged. Good. Moving this. Tucking my head just a little bit. Feeling the alignment. Feeling if I'm leaning too far back or too far forward so that the weight is evenly distributed on the balls of my feet. There it goes. And this is a practice in itself, just to distribute your weight, appropriately. That is just one heck of a practice. So I'm going to put my head back a little bit, and I'm going to feel how my spine is becoming aligned. Drop my arms down, and you can see a little bit more. I'm a little bit more in line. My normal posture, let's see. If I'm just like chilling in like the line at the grocery store or something, I'm not paying attention, this is my normal posture. This. And when I do the exercise, it immediately shifts. And I can tell that I'm a little bit more in alignment. I feel it. I'm not an expert at being able to do this because it does help to have a mirror present and somebody who can show you the little subtle movements of what it looks like in a mirror. So again, an expert, somebody who's certified in somatic exercise or somatic movement is what you want to go to. So your goal, again, your assignment is to do a somatic experience exercise. What we're doing, again, is understanding where in our body we have stuck imbalances, and we're going to go ahead and try to move those with just some fascial movement, just to get it going. One thing that you can do for fascial movement, if you're just too tight in general, and you can do this every morning, which is actually a super good, super effective, and it's actually more effective than a cup of coffee at waking you up. Because, interesting, a lot of us drink coffee. I love coffee. I love the flavor of dirt for some reason. Whatever, I'm an earthy, crunchy Virgo. I even like decaf. Shh, okay? Which is what I try to drink as much as I can, rather than normal, because caffeine actually just turns off your body's ability to sense when you're tired so that you try to keep going. When in reality, that tiredness is your body signaling that the nerves or the connections going on there, what supports neural, what is that called? The electrical transference through your nerves is actually compromised, and it's worn out, so to speak. And perhaps your brain still has too much stuff going on, and you can't think fully. You can't make decisions completely in the moment. You might be distracted by things like looking for distractions, such as scrolling on YouTube or scrolling on Facebook for too much. Not being able to focus correctly. Those are all signals that our brain is tired and that we need rest. Caffeine counteracts that, and it makes you think like you can keep going, right? When in reality, all you're doing is taking away the regulation that tells you you're tired. You don't have an up-regulation for energy unless you're going to do something that's extremely unhealthy, and I don't recommend that. Sugar, intakes of sugar and stuff like that spike your energy, but then you go crashing down. So we know that the real way to actually get more energy is just to get good sleep, right? Don't drink a lot of coffee. Huge thing. Anyway, in the morning, it's actually more effective to do a stretch and then do a little shake, a little shaking in your body. Get your blood flowing to wake you up and get you primed than it is to have any cup of coffee or any stimulant, period. It's kind of amazing. Water is also great, obviously. When you're doing just like a shake one, the other day or the other couple videos ago, I did a light movement, right? And you can do something like this and you can notice that your fascial tissues are starting to stretch in your torso. And if you increase and you start doing little shakes like this, you're actually shifting and moving your fascial tissue all over the place, right? Maybe some shoulder rolls, going forward and back. I think we did some shoulder like this, right? Oh, and I'm exaggerating. Yeah, so just shaking it out and moving around. That really wakes you up better than caffeine does. Craziness. So, moving forward, I look forward to your posts. I look forward to your expansions. If you have any questions, reach out to me. Of course, there are the supports, the Wednesday meditation from 6 to 7, and then also the in-person biweekly Friday meditations, Compassionate Mindful Meditation, the Foundations of Meditation. We only have 2 more classes, 2 more before the end of the year. What else can I say? The prize for day number 30 is coming up soon, and I am so excited to be able to gift that out because you guys are working extremely hard. I'm going to be looking super hard, what is the word? See, I need to stop drinking as much coffee. I'm going to be looking very diligently at your posts and seeing where I can push you to experience a little bit more today. I'm going to be commenting a whole bunch, seeing if anybody needs support. What else can I say? For now, I think that's it. Go ahead and be merry today. Enjoy the day, preparations for the holiday or whatever you're going to do in the next couple days. Hopefully you're not stuck at a store in a line or anything, but if you are, why don't you just go ahead and spend the time sending love? We could all use it. With light and love, I say namaste.